Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Yura and we are back in Clash for yet another deck profile. Today we're talking about a deck that has grown very near and dear to my heart very quickly, Spiders. I adore this deck to no end, and I really could not tell you why other than the fact that every time I play this deck, my brain lights up in fireworks. And I really do not know why it's like this. I don't know what it is about these funny little guys that makes my brain so happy to play them, but I really do adore this deck. And I know it's not like necessarily a meta threat. It's not going to contend with like a Blizzstrix windmill slamming 10 things in a row or Earth Lunar aggro, just aggroing you out of the game. But it is still an absolute blast on the ladder, and I have really been enjoying climbing with it. The main reason why I think this deck works so well, for me at least, is Champion Warmite. I love this little guy. Look at him. He's so adorable, and he does some like good things. His effect is good. He is probably one of the main stars of the deck in combination with Hestia's Hearth and Arachne's Lair, which we'll cover in a moment. I love this little guy. He's a 3/1 fire Elestral, 1 cost, that reads, when this Warmite receives 1 or more fire, you can target an Elestral and give it -3 attack until the next turn. Also, when a player casts Hestia's Hearth, you can return up to 2 fire spirits from your underworld to your spirit deck. 2 pretty simple effects that can do absolutely incredible things. Warmite Champion of Hestia, when paired with the aforementioned Hestia's Hearth, which is a counter rune that reads, enchant fire from your underworld to a card in your field. Then, if that card was Hestia or a Champion of Hestia, you may enchant an additional fire from your underworld to it. So these cards are kind of like a 2-card package. Use Hearth on Warmite to shrink either 1 or 2 guys by 3. And also, while you do this, you gain 2 additional spirits onto your Warmite, so when you win combat, because you can do this in the battle step, you get to ping your opponent for either 1 or 2, depending on what actual enchantment cost your opponent's Elestral is. And on top of that, you get to heal 2 while you do it. This lets you contest so many things that it probably otherwise wouldn't be able to. Warmite previously, and Spiders in general, were kind of slow control tools because they only worked on your turn, so even though this was a deck that wanted to play the control strategy, they didn't really have a good way of doing it other than sitting behind some really bad, slow floodgates. That is not the case anymore as of Firestorm. Warmite lets you contest so many weird board states. You can be proactive with it and help your generally fairly small bodies clear some 5s. You could shrink down anything that is 9 or below to either try to hit over it, or you can like crash with it if need be. Honestly, if you're adding a 2-spirit Elestral for like 1 guy, that's pretty decent. I'll take that. The main problem that you're going to run into with specifically Champion Warmite and a lot of the things in this deck is there are a lot of 3-drops that tend to protect themselves from Elestral effects. Right off the bat, I'm thinking of like Volt Tempest and Antitan. Antitan specifically is a really unfortunate case because it would normally work, except for the fact that all the spiders are insectoids, so we just kind of cry about it. But Warmite and Hearth is not the only thing this deck has going for it. The other main piece of the deck that really sells this, and I think is one of the main things that helps this deck stay not competitive, but can at least take swings at the best of them, is Arachne's Lair. This is our stadium rune for our archetype, I guess I'll call it. It is a 1-cost fire stadium that reads, when a player casts Warmite, Frostmite, Chitemite, Fluorachne, Polarachne, or Parachne, that player must draw a card. So not only does this card replace itself in your hand when you summon any other spider, it also pairs really well with a card like Chitemite, which is already mentioned on the card. But Chitemite is a 1/4 1-drop Wind Elestral that can disenchant wind from itself in order to special cast a Warmite or a Frostmite from your deck. Pairing Chitemite with Arachne's Lair nets you 2 total draws while also grabbing a Warmite or a Frostmite out of your deck, which is really nice for trying to find any counter rune, because at the end of the day, we are trying to play a control deck. We want to like gum up the board state. We really want to be able to like stick a couple of bodies on board and slowly chip away at our opponent's resources until they are firmly caught in our web and we can go in for the kill. Because we're playing a strategy like this, we are maxed out on pretty much every counter rune that the deck can feasibly play, and that actively helps us either advance a board state or stave off an aggro push. The weirdest of these is probably Tsunami. There are a lot of water decks kind of running around that are fairly popular, especially now that like the frost package is fixed. So there's like some water frost hybrids running around. There's pure water, like just water reanimator around. Galaxy Champ is one of the best cards in the entire game. And Tsunami does nothing into all of those, which is why I'm a little hesitant to keep this card at 3, but genuinely it's been so good in a bunch of other matchups that it is really hard for me to say like, oh, we can cut down on this, because the other replacement for this is probably like Alter, and Alter is just not as consistent as you want it to be in a deck like this. You can stick a bunch of spirits on board by going like Warmite and then Hestia's Hearth onto it, because that is 2 spirits out of the grave that you can stick onto a body, which is great Nexus fodder. It's the reason we're on the Kinleo at all. But it's also not the most consistent thing, and it will more often than not lead to Alter having to either take the spirit off of Arachne's Lair or off of one of your bodies on board that you really would rather not have to lose out on. Especially when Tsunami, in the grand majority of cases, will probably do the job, again, unless you're playing against water. The rest of the counter runes are pretty self-explanatory. Shield, PTA, Gorgons, they're just incredible. 3 Ambrosia, because it's incredible. We're also on 3 Astrabbit. We are playing a slower deck, and we really want to find key pieces. We aren't necessarily looking for like any specific 2-card combo. Of course, Warmite plus Hearth is really nice, but honestly, we're just looking to like get at least a counter rune in rotation plus something that gums up the board state. And then from then on, we can probably stabilize a little bit and then just keep playing from there. The rest of the Spider engine, though, I am realizing I just kind of forgot to talk about before I started going to the generics. Parachne is another card that is mentioned on Arachne's Lair, as many of them are, and it is really solid for a very simple reason. It's a lith. If you really squint, it's a lith. All you have to do is have Arachne's Lair up, and then boom, you can windmill slam a 6-drop. It's lovely. I love this card. It is one of the only in-engine aggro tools we have access to, and by God, I will make use of it every single time I can. This card is really, really cool. The other spiders we're on are the original Warmite. This card is more often than not worse than the champion, but it is good in the specific instance where you can like shrink down a 7 to trade, where champion Warmite otherwise could not do that unless you have exactly Hearth already set up. So the original Warmite is much better at dealing with slightly larger threats, typically like your 2-drops like Cryovern or like an Asprowl, than the regular champion version would be. This card also pairs nicely with like the higher attack stat guys in our deck because it lets them trade for something even bigger. It makes your Parachnes be able to beat over 10 drops, of which there aren't that many, but like clearing 9s is nice. Same goes for Jolton. This lets Jolton actually clear over the 7s instead of just crashing with them like the normal Warmite would have to. And in a very similar breath, Frostmite is kind of the same thing, but for defense positions. This deck does a lot of attack stat shrinking, but if your opponent plays defensively, your only real out is to either pray to God that they are 5 or below, so you can actually windmill slam a Parachne on them, or you Frostmite them and then Parachne them. While these cards aren't super powerful all on their own, when paired together, they are absolutely a force to be reckoned with, and I cannot wait to show them off. So we're gonna hop onto the ladder and show off some games. All right. Oh, the Starbit icon. I want Starbit in this game so badly. That'd be so awesome. This hand is not great. I actually might mull this because double Kite Might on its own is like not terrible. Plus PTA, it just, we don't really have a good way. Oh, we're going second. Yeah, we definitely mull this. We don't have any good way of like actually putting the pressure on, which, okay, yeah, I'm much happier with something like this. We can just go Rabbit. That's fine. Also, mulliganing in this deck actually feels really nice because it sets up our graveyard for Hestia's Hearth, which is really, really nice because otherwise that card says do nothing, which is bad. Ideally, you don't want to activate cards that say do nothing. First Light. Ooh, Solar. This is a element that I do really want to play around with. I think I might try out like Nyx and Mara. I think the Champions of Apollo. I think the Champions of Apollo stuff is pretty cool. I just haven't really looked into it too much. Hi, Apollo. I do like Solar, though. One of my very first Elestrals video, if you've been watching the channel for a while, was Solar. It was the Lustragon, like, Solar Nexus list, and that was a lot of fun to pilot. I really enjoyed my time with that, and honestly, I could very well see myself trying out the new Solar stuff, just because I think Foretell is a really interesting mechanic. Okay, they're going to go the Exaltus add to hand here, and then they have PTA Tsunami. Not great for us, but it maybe helps us understand what's in their hand currently. We already know they have one Champion Exaltus, so they're going to have two now. Our hand does not actively contest that, but like we get to just go Ast Rabbit, which is like a 5-body. Unfortunately, ooh, Dratara. Are they actually going to do that Nexus and heal up? They are. Okay. So they do have double Apollo champions in hand, so I do have to kind of be aware of that. But I don't think we're going to be going on the offensive just yet. We're pretty content to just sit back and chill and resolve a couple of rabbits. PT is a really nice find off the top. Let's see if they have an answer for the rabbit. Anything back there? Might be a Gorgons. Typically when I see... Oh, okay, it's nothing. Ooh, Gorgons is really nice. I might grab the shield, though. We know their hand right now is double Champion, Exaltus specifically. So I'm tempted to grab the Gorgons here, I think. Next turn is going to look very similar to this one. We're going to go Rabbit again. I actually don't know the activation condition on Champion Exaltus, but I will just simply be okay if I stay passive, I think. We're going to keep this Arachne's Lair in hand for now. There's no real reason to play it just yet until we find either a Kite Mite or a Warmite. Ideally, we find the Kite Mite because I do want to get some draws going. But we're okay to just pass it back here. This deck is very okay with playing slow. I do not mind that at all. I also don't know how consistent Solar can get over a 5. Are we nexusing back? Part of me wants to Gorgons that, but I also don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, I really wish I knew what... No, I might look it up. What does Champion Exaltus say? I know it gets... Okay, it gets +3 if you foretold this turn. Okay. An Elestral on your field is destroyed in battle. Okay. We can deal with that. I'm going to PTA the normal cast here because that will get around the destruction by battle effect. I totally missed what they were foretelling because I was staring at my I was staring at my browser trying to figure out what the card did. That's not great. We're just gonna run out the second rabbit. Again, totally okay with just chilling. I am not in a rush. I do wonder what that back row is. Maybe it's a Tsunami. Ooh, Kite Mite. There we go. That's my goat. That's my friend. That's my boy. Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That didn't happen. I might keep that in. That was silly. So Elestrals Clash is a thing that I have just like, I keep it in windowed mode. And sometimes when I go to like readjust the window, it grabs it and just moves it down to the bottom of my screen, which is not ideal, but it's funny every time it happens. Windjin. Okay. So this used to be bugged and is not anymore. I might... No, I think we're okay. I get to add the PTA. So I should have... I missed my window. I wish I knew what any of these triggers were. Oh, Tornadin. I'm going to PTA that guy. He'll beat over one of our guys, but it's like fine. It's going to be kind of an expensive PTA, but like I don't mind too much. I mean, I probably should mind, but I think we'll be okay. I would really like to find a Hestia's Hearth. Yep, I'm going to expend. Yeah, I really should have Gorgons the Windjin. I just thought I had like an extra window to react to it. That's my bad. First Light. Exaltus, and Lustragon. You got it. Wish Tornadian was one attack smaller, honestly, so it couldn't beat over one of my rabbits, but it's fine. Do I not get to know what they added? I don't. Oh, because it's random. No, I don't want to see that. Stop. I don't want to see that. Close the log. How do I close the log? Whatever. Can I close the log? No. There we go. This client's still a little funky. It's not perfect. All right, we're going to pay out you, and... Yeah, I think just you and you. I don't think I need another Thunder. If I do, I have 2 Ambros in hand. I'm not too worried about it. I wonder if they're on the field spell. We haven't seen it yet. Warmite's pretty nice. All right, we're going to go Arachne's Lair here. I think we might go the Frostmite. We know they have a PTA. I wonder if they're going to use it on the Kite Mite here. The smart play would be to not do that. But we'll see. I want to put it in defense in case they do have a Gorgons. We're going to go Arachne's Lair. Are they going to PTA the Kite Mite? Or not? Ooh, Parachne's really nice. All right, we're going to go Kite Mite. So this will guarantee us being able to swing over the guy into defense position here. I'm going to be honest. I don't even know if I want to do that because they do have the double Exaltus in hand. I'm really hoping I find another back row off this. Tsunami would be great here. Ask and ye shall receive. Oh my lord. That's incredible. Truly incredible. All right, because we drew that, I am going to go Frostmite effect. I'm going to out the Stratora. We're going to set 1. Part of me really wants to set this Ambro as a bluff. Do I go attack Rabbit? I think I do. I think there's literally no reason for me to not. No, there is. It's because there's an Exaltus coming my way. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. We're going to punch over this. And then I assume both Exaltuses are going to trigger. I might crash the Frostmite with one of them. And then next turn, I'm going to go either the Parachne or Warmite. Oh, their own Tsunami. Okay. I don't mind that. So we don't have to worry about the double Exaltus right now, which is really nice. If they do cast over my Arachne's Lair, I am going to be a little bit sad. But I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. T-Storm. Okay. On to what? The new set. Okay. The Tsunami was going to be helpful for if they actually had the double Exaltus, but because they don't, I'm not super worried about it. I wonder if they're going to try to heal off their Jatora here. I imagine they want to keep the Apollo in rotation for when they do get the Exaltuses on board. Oh, regular Exaltus. Okay. Depending on what they Nexus here, I might gaze this. Because if they Nexus off the Apollo, I can just get that Spirit off board with the Warmite next turn. From the Jatora to the Apollo. Okay. I think I do still have to Gorgons this. Which doesn't feel great. The play might honestly be to go Kindleo. And like Nexus off the Arachne's Lair to pop the Exaltus. I just don't want them getting another search. The other hand is double Exaltus plus Lustragon. I'm pretty sure that's a Whiffed Mill, unless they add the first light. I don't actually think they can. I think it's a Solar Elestral. Weird board state. We're out of counter runes, which really makes me want to go Parachne here. Those Exaltuses are only going to be 6 attack for 1 turn, unless they have another way of foretelling, which from what I've seen, I don't think they do. Another set. That's probably the PTA we saw get added. Which kind of makes me not want to do this Parachne play. Another Gorgons is really nice. I think I will Warmite here. No, because Warmite means I want to try to go on the offensive, but no, I'm going to Paracne. This still gets me the draw, which is what I want, and it lets me keep the Warmite in rotation for a following turn. We're going to go Arachne's Lair. Are they going to PTA the Paracne? Like, how much do they care about it? Shield is a fantastic draw. All right, we're stabilizing a little bit. I think I'm going to drop one of the Ambros right here. I really wish I could find a Hearth. It's kind of one of the reasons why I haven't deployed the Warmite yet. We're going to go Ambro. We're going to get a Wind, and then I think just 2 Fires back. Yeah, I like that. Because I want to have the ability to field another Paracne. We're going to go Frostbite to attack. And then set 2. They're not using their PTA, which is interesting. Maybe there's a shield back there and they've just really been holding it. Because I think this set has been here since the beginning of the game. Unless I'm misremembering. So we're going to run Paracne over. They're going to take 1 unless they bounce us back. Or it's another Tsunami. I think I'm okay with it being another Tsunami. 6-5 is still big enough. Gorgons. Okay. That's fine. So I think I did actually have the read that that was Gorgons the entire time. Unless that is a new set and I'm just blind. In that case, I'm literally just going to pass turn. I am not in a rush to get to the end of this game. We've got an Ambro still in hand, a Kindleo waiting to be deployed, the Warmite in hand for whenever we draw a Hearth. I'm feeling really solid. If they go Lustragon here, it could be kind of dangerous. But I think we have answers. Actually, I know we have answers. We have Warmite in hand. I'm genuinely not that worried. I would really like to find a Hearth, though. Hearth plus Warmite is really like the heart of the deck. Or the hearth of the deck, if you will. And not seeing Hearth when I'm 15 cards into my deck is really unfortunate. Especially with how many things that we've been drawing. Do I get to know how many cards they have yet? No. All right, that's still bugged. Oh, well. It's okay. Here comes the first light. I wonder if they're just trying to guarantee an Apollo hit here. Stacking the Tornadian. That is scary. If they go Apollo, I am going to... Okay, I am going to Gorgons this Exaltus. On res of this, I think. If I can. I would really like to. Hurricane! Huh? Hurricane! Alright, now we're going to Gorgons. You and... Do I want to keep the water? I think I do. I don't want them ascending over this. That is very scary. So now they're forced to either cast one of their 2 champion Exaltuses in hand. Because their hand right now is Exaltus, Exaltus, Lustragon, Tornadian. Which is scary. Don't get me wrong. Don't like that. But if we can get through the 3 bodies... We are kind of chilling. They're out there Apollo, which feels really, really nice. They're also pretty low on spirits. Yeah, I was going to say, I do not think there is a world in which they win that game because the back row is likely the PTA that I'm pretty sure we saw get added way earlier. And even if they PTA our Warmite on summon, we go Paracne over the Exaltus on field. Or no, sorry. We go the Warmite over the Exaltus on field that got shrunk by 3. And then we go Paracne over the first Exaltus that gets summoned. And then Frostbite crash into the second one. And then they are forced into top decking mode with 2/2 drops in hand. That felt really nice, even without Hearth. All right. Into another game. I love this deck so much. It's just so much fun. I like this hand. I'm keeping this. We're going to go Jolt and get Arachne's Lair and just set up for the Paracne next turn. We're chilling. I think, like, Jolton plus Gorgons here is probably the move. Ash Blossom me. Do it. Give me Arachne's Lair. All right, we're going to not play it. Don't play it. My brain was like, field spell. I must activate it. All right, we're just going to pass. We're totally chill with this. Everything is A-okay. One set. I do not want to gaze my own Jolton. No, thank you. Let me just turn this off for now. 2 set. So they got a normal cast in there. Oh, no. Oh, no. That is getting immediately gazed. Nuh-uh. Not today. No, chef. Very glad I set the Gorgons instead of the shield. That could have been extremely dangerous. I mean, it's backed up by 2 back rows, so I don't even know if we're going to have the opportunity to, like, deal with this. Yeah, more Frost. We're going to grab Indus and Scorpio, I think. That's typically what Blizz tends to run. Is Chimera in the game yet? I don't think it is. I would love to get Chimera in the game. I love Chimera form. It's super cool. Honestly, there's a bunch of cards that I'm just waiting to get in the game. I think I talked about it in the... was either in the Spider deck profile that I recorded when I was in the middle of a horrendous Dizzy spell, or it was in the Antitan video. My memory is not that great, so I don't remember. But I really want to play, like, Lunar Phase. I want Ash Rabbit in the game. I want, like, half the Solar Pool that just isn't in the game. Second Gorgon's Gaze is really great. There's a lot of decks that I want to play that just are not in Clash yet. We rock the Arachne's Lair. What are they thinking about? It's like Gorgons? Maybe it's Tsunami? The world may never know. I genuinely no clue what's back there. Go, Parachne! Big spider body! Let me draw my card. Let me draw my card. Give me my card. I would like to draw my card. Please give me my card. Can I have a card? Please? One card. Are they going to PTI me? If they do PTI me, I think I maybe just... No, I don't crash. Oh, Warmite! My goat! So I know Blizzstrix does play not Gorgons. Hurricane. They've got 2 sets. How much do I care if they have Hurricane? I think a lot, probably. But I will instead play anyway. I will just set both anyway, and everything will be just fine. We're going to try to go swinging. I'm actually getting pretty low on spirits already. I'm to 14 already. I really need to find Hearth or Ambrosia. The Warmite cast next turn will get us a little bit further. Or I'd go the Jolton, thin the deck out a little bit more. So in case the Arachne's Lair does get outed. We'll see where it'll draw us next turn. They've got to have something for this. If it's shield, that's probably worst case scenario. Tsunami is fine. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I mean, it sucks, but like, we'll live with it. Now, do I crash with the Snowlet? I think the answer is probably yes. They still have a trigger here. Okay. They're just going to make the decision for me. That's all right. So that is maybe telling they do actually have Hurricane in hand. If they do go Hurricane, I'm going to gaze the Snowlet. Hurricane thankfully does not hit face up, so our Arachne's Lair is safe unless they go Mountains of Boreas. If they do have Champion Brumalinx, that is going to be a really tough call on what I'm gazing. It probably is still the Snowlet, though. Because Snowlet just, like, represents so much, and it is genuinely terrifying. Just going to hard ascend into the Aspral. Okay. We now have to deal with this. I'm going to wait for their Expend before I Gorgons. I wonder if they have another back row. There's the Expend. Rip this Gorgons. Probably another 2 fire. We want to keep the wind so we can go Parachne again. And now, so long as they don't have another back row, we can go Warmite and then crash the Jolton in. This is actually one of the really good use cases for regular Warmite. Because that would let our Jolton just clear it. The 3rd Gorgon's Gaze. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for this Blizz player. All right. Warmite effect, Shrink You, Arachne's Lair effect, draw a card. Rabbit's a great one. We're going to set this Gorgon's Gaze because I'm just the greatest player of all time. All right. I guess they just had nothing else. Short one, but that first one went pretty long, so I don't know. I'm okay. Sad that I didn't get to see Hestia's Hearth, but it is what it is. I'll probably play this deck again on the channel. It's just so much fun. I love it so much. And that was our Silver 2 rank up too, so feeling all right. All right, so we're back with the deck, and God, I love it. It's just so much fun. I am really sad that we didn't get to, like, see the Hestia's Hearth stuff, but it's like fine. Y'all know what it does. It makes Warmite an incredible control piece, but genuinely, even without what I consider to be one of the most potent things in the deck, the spiders could just take wins. Like, it plays so many counter runes, and Arachne's Lair is genuinely such an incredible way of finding more advantage and getting those counter runes out of the deck. It's really, really nice. Kite Might being able to thin our deck out and just getting what would normally be like, not dead draws, but it's not a counter rune, so it's not as good. It is so, so nice. This deck in general, I do think does still have room for improvement. I'm really not fully convinced by the 3 tsunamis, especially with how many like water decks are running around on ladder. The problem is I don't really know what else I can put in here at the moment. A lot of the other counter runes that we have access to are like, they're just not quite there. Like, we could play Altar of Stars, but the unfortunate thing about Altar in this deck is that the main way you have of getting Nexus Banks on board is by finding Hestia's Hearth, and you saw in the games, sometimes that just doesn't happen, even with all the draw power and deck thinning that spiders can give you. Sometimes you just don't see the tools that let you put multiple spirits on board really easily. You can Nexus off the Arachne's Lair if need be, but I'm going to be honest, I think Arachne's Lair is just so much more valuable staying on the field as long as possible and getting you as many draws as it physically can before your opponent eventually like pops it with a T-Storm or plays their own Stadium Rune over it. I just don't see a world in which actually Nexusing off the Lair is that good. Unless it like wins you the game with something like a Kindleo Nexus to clear a guy. There are some other Elestrals that I think could maybe find their way in. The Insectoid archetype in general is just full of a lot of cards. There might be a world where a Hestia variant of this deck exists. I don't know if I am specifically someone that wants to play it like that, because genuinely one of my favorite pieces of this deck is the Wind Spiders. I think they are really nice. There is maybe a world where we play like, I almost said Argo, but I don't think that's really all that good. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think the deck really has room for it. Polarachne is not good. I'm just gonna be frank with you. I really don't think it's that worth it. And the other spiders are just like, I don't know, they're like fine, but I don't know if we need them. I don't know. There's definitely still some things that I want to try to touch up about the list, and I think there are ways to make it better than it currently is. But for right now, I am just having an absolute blast playing this deck as it currently is. The ladder has been such an enjoyable experience, like playing what is functionally a control deck, and I have really, really been loving it. So thank you all so much for watching. This probably ran a little bit longer because I just like yapping about spiders. I think this deck is super sick. I really hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you again, probably in Clash next time as well. There are just too many decks that I want to talk about, and God, this game is just so much fun. So with all that said, thank you all again so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.